Welcome to episode 235 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week, he's back, Guy Serle. How you doing, Guy?
I am Triple X. That's what I am. I'm seeing that right in the show notes. That's who I am. I'm Triple X. And based on our previous conversation, never mind.
Yeah, never mind. But thanks for being here. We're glad you're here.
I am glad to be here.
And Jeff Gamet is back on the show. We always love having him. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well. You say you always love having me, but I've been here for the past several minutes.
I know.
I'm questioning why you say that.
Because we love you. I thought there'd be a quiet week here since this is the recording a couple days before Christmas 2022 here, but there's a pretty good amount of news here this week we're going to chat about, including Apple actually talking about the AirTags, surprisingly. I think I'll have a good information from Jeff about the HomeKit, and we've got some good news, and I am actually going to talk about give a review of Apple Music Sing, as well as the Apple TV third generation 2022 version, which I have. So we got a lot to talk about this week. So why not just jump in and go into the news? And as I mentioned, the AirTags actually finally details what is new in the latest AirTag firmware updates, because they never tell us. So we've always been doing that ever since the AirTag has been out, and they never told us. So they have released two firmware updates since November, and the company still had yet to give the details, but they got some notes here. It was a support article on Apple's website. The company now details that the firmware is up to date, and it is working with AirTag and precision finding. And really what that is I have a feeling that it's got something to do with the stalking thing, maybe. It also does resolve an issue with the accelerometer not activating in certain scenarios. So it's good to see that we actually have some details as far as that goes. But as we know, the firmware update is not intuitive. It just happens. What do you think, Guy?
I'm kind of confused by the first part of the update, which was major finding, and then the second part, which is stalking protection. So it's like, well, if you really go out of your way to be a stalker, we're like dot to dot right there. Now, the whole stalking thing, I don't really know what else Apple could do beyond what they were already doing, which is to alert you
when
you have an iPhone that there's an AirTag not far away from you that doesn't seem to be moving anywhere, that's not on your list of approved devices.
Right.
Beyond that, people who use any kind of tracker to stalk people, you are scum, and you deserve to be in the lowest pits of hell.
All right. Well, glad you tell us
Except
how
for
you
me,
feel.
of course.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff? What do you think?
Well, first, apparently I need to swing by Guy's place and pick up an AirTag that I accidentally forgot.
Oops. Sorry.
Okay. So the precision finding, I thought part of that was so that you were getting even better location information when you're at an AirTag that you're trying to find. You know, like when you're using Find My just to figure out where the AirTag is.
Right.
And then as far as the improvements to help protect from stalking, okay, Apple has already gone above and beyond compared to all the other companies. And they're doing even more now, and Apple is setting a very high bar for personal protection and privacy with tracking devices. I'm still amazed we are this far into the life of the AirTag, and Tile is still able to skate by without having done anything to really protect people from stalkers, and they're still really not being called out except for when I get on my soapbox and rant about this every time there's an AirTag discussion.
Well,
the biggest thing is Tile doesn't have any money and Apple does.
Money. Apple has more visibility. But you'll get people that'll say, but Tile, there's just no massive tracking network like you have with
And what good are they?
AirTags. And then what good are they? But also, no, they actually do have a really good tracking system. Anytime someone buys an Echo device, that extends out the tracking system for Tile because of the Sidewalk platform. And anyhow, so there are lots of devices out there that Tile has partnerships with for aiding with tracking. And anyhow, good on Apple, and come on, Tile, step up your game.
Yes, step up. The next story we have here is this was a story a guy brought in. Epic agrees to pay over $500 million in deceptive in-game practices, including making dispute of charges difficult and cyberbullying easy. This was an article. This was actually in the CNN. Excuse me. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what your thoughts are on this with Fortnite and Epic Games? They're paying this settlement.
Me?
Yeah, this was your story.
Oh, okay. Well, it could have been Jeff. The part that I think kind of makes me angry is all of the hand-wringing and hyperbole from Epic Games and Tim McSweeney, for that matter, about how Apple is holding back developers and Epic is the developer's friend, and they're doing what they can so that Apple doesn't collect all these unnecessary fees and blah 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 blah. And as it turns out, it's all just a pile of crap. They basically, and it's not like this is a huge surprise. They just wanted a bigger cut of the pie for themselves, while still being able to maintain a presence on the biggest mobile platform that makes you the most money, which is iOS. Right. And it's wrong, and they should be ashamed of themselves. And I wish it was more than $500 million, because some of the things that they've accused Apple of, they're actively doing in this story. Apple, if you contact Apple and you accidentally purchase an app, it's relatively easy to say, hey, I would like my money back from this app. And Apple, for the most part, doesn't make it that difficult to get that money back.
Yeah, did it for me.
Yeah. And Epic, in the meantime, we just want to hold on to all the money. And, they're a super greedy corporation. And I'm just not really happy with them and Tim McSweeney. Tim McSweeney should get coal in his stocking this year for Christmas.
Any thoughts on this, Jeff?
I think coal right now is going up in value, so maybe pick something else bad to put in his stocking.
Yeah.
Guys, nailing it. Come on, Epic is acting in a very sleazy way.
Yeah. And it's not like they're going to open up their store to third parties and not charge them for the privilege.
Oh, and by the way, they do the 30% cut too.
Yeah. And don't allow outside stores.
Yeah. So Epic having to pay $500 million. Okay, good. They should be penalized for being I just stopped myself because I almost changed it from a family show. But let's just say karma's a bitch.
Yeah.
No, I agree. All right, let's move on here. Next story here. The Apple TV app is rumored to be now launching on Android. Apple plans to make a TV app available on Android smartphones. Of course, this is a rumor. The leaker is claiming that Apple is testing it internally and plans to release it soon, but they didn't give any specific time frame. As we keep seeing, with Apple TV and Apple TV Plus, they just got the MLS season pass next year, and they're starting to work with the Android TV and all this other stuff. So I guess bring it on. We need more eyeballs.
It works with Roku. It works with most of the smart
all the
TV platforms.
So.
And when you get right down to it, it's a service that makes Apple money, and they don't really care whether that money is going to come from iOS, iPadOS, the Mac, Windows, or Android. All the big platforms. They don't care. It doesn't matter. It's making them money.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, first, of course, Apple's testing an Android version of the Apple TV app in their labs, and they've been doing it ever since they started working on the software for every other platform. It doesn't mean it will be released, but it's in this case, it's going to be released because, Apple wants to be on all the platforms so that their streaming service is something that everyone is buying into.
Yep. So that's got, let's say, get more people to be able to keep the service even more popular. Speaking of unpopular is the demise of DarkSky. We've been talking about this for the last couple months. Well, it's here. Apple is pushing DarkSky users to their revamped weather app as the shutdown looms on January 1st of 2023. It had a little warning at the top there saying, this is data will no longer be here. And here's all the features. And Apple saying, they even published a support document highlighting all the DarkSky features that are now in the weather app. But I know, Jeff, you have thoughts because it's not DarkSky.
No, it's not. The weather app, I'm glad that it is getting more features. However, it is not DarkSky.
Yeah.
And what Apple should have done is just made a new icon for DarkSky and changed the app name to Apple Weather and called it good.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a better option. So as it stands, I have no idea what weather app I'm going to be using come January 1st. I just know it isn't DarkSky and it won't be weather.
Well, stay tuned. We'll break that new story when it happens next year.
I have several weather apps on my iPhone right now, and I keep looking at all of them in succession, trying to find the one that does what I need. I need an app that's DarkSky.
Yes. Guy, did you ever use a DarkSky?
Never did. I'm kind of a fan of Ryan Hall, y'all. So, go on over. If you don't know who that is, he's
Carrot.
He's not a meteorologist, but he plays one on YouTube.
I see, and
has a huge following. And my wife actually, right this moment, is watching him live talking about the storm that's going across. But I mean, if we're going to talk about apps, Apple's weather app for iOS is fine for me. It gives me all the information that I need in whatever location I happen to be in. If I'm traveling down the 95 corridor, I know I can bring it up and it's going to tell me that in Bum F, South Carolina, it's now currently 24 degrees or whatever. So convenience, and it's not that dissimilar to the cars, the Waze versus Apple Maps debate, where Apple Maps doesn't have all the features, but it's got all the features that you need, whereas Waze gets so far down into the weeds that it can be difficult to find what it is you're looking for.
Right. All right. Next story here. AirPods recovered after a Find My tracked down the thieving hotel employee. A hotel guest used the Find My app to help police track down her AirPods after items were stolen from her room by an employee. This was during the Formula One Grand Prix weekend back in June, and she discovered that her Louis Vuitton purse had and some cash had disappeared from her room, and then they found that her AirPods were gone. But then they were able to find the Find My, and it actually found her AirPods, and the police arrested the person who took them. And that just tells you, don't steal Apple products. Right, Jeff?
And it's not like this is the first time that this has happened. I mean, this has happened multiple times. And idiot thieves, I mean, if they were smart thieves, they wouldn't be stealing stuff, I guess. But idiot thieves go ahead and steal stuff that have a great big hand raised into the air saying, "Here I am," and they get caught all the time.
Yep. It makes me more thankful that we have Find My and our devices can be easily found.
Mm-hmm. Stealing is bad. Okay. We've established that baseline. Okay. All right. Now, when you are in a position of trust and you are stealing, then there's a special level of hell for you. And
right next to Tim McSweeney.
Right. Yeah. Hanging out with Tim McSweeney.
Yeah.
So someone like this who's going in and cleaning rooms in a hotel, that is a position of trust. You are trusting the person that comes in to clean the space and to respect your property.
Yeah.
And so if you're going in and stealing from hotel guests,
shame on you.
Yeah. You need to go to jail.
Naughty person.
Just the rule here is make sure you have Find My enabled, because I've heard plenty of people say to me, "Did you have the Find My app?" I talked to somebody I was helping. I lost her iPhone was stolen. Did you have Find My turned on? No. Well, I guess your phone's gone.
Yeah.
Why do people not have this turned on?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Paranoia. A lot of times.
Sorry, you lost your phone.
Because it's on by default is the thing.
Right.
So you have to physically go into the phone or whatever device it is and turn it off in each time. And if you're that paranoid that you're being tracked, you probably shouldn't have a phone, because they can track you with that as well through cell towers and all the rest of that. Yeah, so you're not really helping yourself.
Something got goofed. Next story, Matter enabled Amazon Echo devices to work with iOS soon as phase 1 rollout is now complete. With the official launch of the new Matter standard for smart home accessories in November, Amazon has announced that it's planning on adding Matter to support to all their Echo devices, to its Echo devices, not all of them. And they confirmed on Monday that the phase 1 rollout is complete, while phase 2 is going to be expected next year to support for iOS. Again, they're talking about here the phasing in of all this stuff and being able to use it with the HomeKit, and it's kind of good to see. There's so many Amazon devices out there, but I seem to remember the discussion that Amazon's lost $10 billion on the Amazon or the Echo world, but that's good to see that they're supporting iOS. What you guys think?
I mean, you create a bunch of really super cheap devices that people don't really know how to use, with a way to make them do stuff that people don't really understand. And it's like with Android tablets, they ended up being regulated to a drawer in the TV room and never seen again, because people can't figure out what the hell they're going to use them for. Whereas with HomeKit devices, because they cost a little more, and the methodology of making them do whatever the hell it is that they're supposed to do just seems to be a little more straightforward. And it also doesn't help Amazon that they keep going, okay, well, here's the Echo Dot. Oh, sorry. No, not that Echo Dot. We're not selling that after 2 weeks. Here's the new Echo Dot. And then here's the new Echo this and the new Echo. It's like, come out with something, have it on the market for 6 months to a year, at least. And if it doesn't sell, then do something else. But don't just keep updating products that aren't selling in the first place and expect to make money.
Yeah. Well, there it goes. And for those of you who don't know what Matter is the new standard. Now it's being supported by companies such as Apple, Amazon, and Google to make smart home devices interoperable across multiple platforms, which is a good thing. You have some Amazon devices. You think this is something good, Jeff, having this support?
Yeah, and as much as I would love to jump on everything that you were saying, Guy, and offer my perspectives on it also, I will save it for when Dave says, let's have the voice assistant device slam show and then buckle up.
That's a good topic. We might do that.
Well, count me in. All right. So instead, I will do my best to focus on just Matter. Okay. So Amazon announcing that they are phasing in Matter support. Good. And all of the other players in that game, they're phasing in support as well. If you want to say, oh, yeah, but Amazon, they're falling behind on it. No. Yes, Apple has rolled out Matter support. Google and Samsung have both rolled out Matter support, but there's more to come for all of these companies. And then keep in mind that there are no devices being sold today that are Matter native, meaning you can't go into a store and pick up a package for like a smart light or something, and it says Matter compatible on it. But you can probably update those devices for Matter support. Maybe. Where we are right now in the Matter adoption game is at the very, very beginning. And I remember we talked about this some on Mac Voices Live a while ago, and I said I have concerns because I'm concerned about compatibility and interoperability. And someone was like, no, here's how Matter works, and so this is what it means. And I was like, okay, cool, thank you. I need that clarification. And it turns out, in this case, I hate to admit I was right. It is a dumpster fire.
Yes, and
there are people that have done the Matter transition for devices that they have. Like Eve devices are a great example. HomeKit only until you do a Matter update on them, and then everything can use them. Except all of a sudden you have Mac users or HomeKit users saying, "Hey, this feature that I was using before I updated to Matter is gone. It doesn't work." So we're seeing problems like that. We're seeing issues where if you want to have a device actually join or get updated to Matter and then join your Matter network, in some cases, well, you kind of have to use an Android device. And once you got it set up, now you can use it with everything else. And then in other cases, it's like, well, you can do it, but you got to use just the manufacturer's app to get everything set up. Oh, by the way, all of you people that are in the Google Home or A Lady ecosystem, you're going to have someone with an iPhone come over because the app is currently available only on iOS. So I'm not concerned about Amazon being behind right now because there's no
lead.
Yeah, there's no lead right now.
Yeah.
But I am excited that ultimately we will have better interoperability.
There has to be.
Yeah.
And,
long time coming.
Yeah, long time coming.
Last story here, and it was announced earlier this week that it was rumored that Apple was out of the running for the NFL Sunday Ticket. We've been talking about that for the last few months. Well, today was announced as we record that Google, YouTube, and YouTube TV is officially going to be showing all the NFL games next year with a big major deal with the National Football League. They did confirm that it's going to be on the YouTube primetime channels and YouTube TV starting in 2023. So it's moving the rights away from DirecTV, which had them since 1994. So it's quite a move here. So I think it was a good move, in my opinion, on this on NFL's part, because I think YouTube is a much better audience. I mean, you have the platform that they have YouTube TV for cable subscribers. or I should say streaming subscribers that have many of the channels. So I think this was a good thing. And the commissioner, Roger Goodell, said that this was going to be a good thing. It's going to be a completely new way of the fans across the United States will be able to follow the NFL. Because I also heard rumors that Apple was considering, okay, yeah, we're going to do it, but it's going to be included in the Apple TV Plus package. I'm like, what? Other than that, we're going to charge $6 or $7 a month for NFL. That NFL wasn't going to go for that. So I have a feeling that's why Apple backed out. Guy, you and me both being the football fans we are, what do you think on this? I think this is a good deal.
I don't know if it's such a great deal.
No?
Part of the problem with the DirecTV
implementation.
Thank you. Was that if you weren't on DirecTV, you couldn't get all the games. And it was the same thing. I had the NFL Plus app because it was like, oh, great, I'll be able to watch Dolphins games finally. It's like, no, I can listen to them like a caveman, but I can't watch them.
Well, now you will if you had this package.
Well, if the game was on a major network, and we're talking to Miami Dolphins, so it was never on a major network or hardly ever on a major network. Right. Then I could never see my team. And the only games that I could watch, and it was mostly through Hulu, was whatever games were playing locally. Right. And it's like, what I don't understand about the NFL, they make a crap ton of money from advertising. It's like the number one, probably neck and neck with European football for being the most watched sport in the entire world. It's certainly way, way up there. And if people want to watch their team, you live in Duluth and you want to watch the New York Giants, but you can't because the only games you get are the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Who cares? All of these streaming services should be allowed to show these games with focused advertising toward the people that are watching the games. And you don't charge that much for it because right now you know this is going to cost hundreds of dollars.
Right.
Especially if you're not subscribed to YouTube TV, how are you going to watch these games?
Well, it says we'll find out details.
Package.
We'll find out details. You may have the possibility of it just being on the prime time channels, I suppose. You can watch it that way. But yeah, you're right. You probably have to. I have this feeling. Yeah, you're gonna need to be a YouTube TV subscriber to be able to get access to it. So there's no details as of yet as how YouTube is going to handle it. But I think I think it was the good choice as far as the platform goes because DirecTV, it needed to go away. And you're right because of the fact that with DirecTV, the only way you could get the Sunday ticket was as being a subscriber to their satellite service, which was crazy. For all those years.
But there was a discussion between Tim Robertson and David Cohen over in TechFan long time ago. And we actually had it on one of our commercials on my Mac where David Cohen was basically saying, look, the NFL is going to go to a subscriber-based system to where you won't be able to watch the games for free on network TV anymore. And Tim was basically telling him that he was full of crap. And it's like, I'm seeing all
There's
these
still contracts with the network still.
Contracts run out, Dave. Contracts run out.
They could renew them. Anyway, I don't want to get into a deep debate about this, but I just think it was a good thing. I don't know if you have anything to add here, Jeff. I know you.
I actually do.
Okay, good.
Listening to this discussion reaffirms to me why, even if I suddenly decided that I wanted to get into spectator sports
ball.
Why it would never, ever, ever be American football. I've always felt that American football is like watching a micromanaged board meeting. And why would I want to watch that? But then putting in everything that you just discussed about how complicated and difficult it is to find the game that you are interested in watching, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever think about trying to get into something where the the barrier to entry is this essentially a Great Wall of China that I now have to scale or figure my way around, and I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Holy crap,
And
this is
super
ridiculous.
expensive.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on. I don't want to get too much of that debate, but it'd be interesting to see where things go. I'll just add that the NFL and the networks always had those rules. You always knew the rules when you went and watched the game on Sunday, whether it was on CBS, NBC, or ABC, or wherever it was. That the home. Remember the times where the home teams had to be a sellout, or the local game wouldn't be. All those stupid rules. So
And they're having trouble doing sellouts now.
Right.
A lot of times. Anyway,
Okay.
Sorry.
And we're not done yet.
go ahead.
Holy crap. They are raking in money faster than it could be printed. They are essentially just reaching into all of their fans' pockets and taking every dollar out that they can.
Monopoly too.
And my tax dollars are paying for a stadium that they don't have to pay for so that they can do this. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I am so not into that.
Yeah.
That new stadium in LA, over $6 billion for that stadium.
Yep. Okay, let's go ahead. We're gonna go on and go on to the topics this week. Beta, the iOS 16.3 and iPad OS 16.3 beta 1 is continuing for this week. There wasn't really much notable as we talked about last week when it was released. The new features. They're hoping that the Apple Music Classical comes out, and who knows if that's being synced with 16.3. But of course, the physical security keys for the Apple ID, that was the one big thing that was added. We talked about that. So, but not much else to talk about that with beta, unless you guys had anything to add before I move on here.
No.
I know what I wanted to also talk about is Apple Music Sing. I had an opportunity to, and I did it privately because I didn't want people to see me sing. But
Oh, come on.
but
Why didn't you live stream?
I should have. Yeah, yeah. My bad singing. No, my singing's not that bad. But so it is a really good experience. I'm very impressed with it. It's a karaoke type experience. I'm assuming you guys haven't tried it yet, so I'm going to go under that assumption. So the biggest thing that is really cool is the fact that you can adjust the vocals, and all it does on the iPhone. And when you start playing the song, and you go into Apple Music, you pick one of the songs, and they have of course playlists galore. You go in, pick the song. And as soon as the song starts up, your lyrics are already there, just like a karaoke machine. And then there's a little button down there. It's a microphone that allows you to adjust the vocals. So you can reduce that mic all the way down so you don't hear the vocals at all, or very, very faint. And it's real time lyrics, and you can sing. They also have the background vocals where their lines are sung simultaneously, can animate independently from the main vocals, makes it easier to follow. They even have a duet view, which I didn't try, that multiple vocalists show on opposite sides of a screen to make duets. So they're really kind of tapping into this this karaoke world here. That maybe more people are going to be doing karaoke from home than ever before, because this is so easy. You don't have to have the big giant thing with the microphones and all that stuff like people would buy. It's right in your iOS device or your Apple TV for that matter. The other thing I was going to mention too is the Apple TV. I was a little perturbed with the fact that you can't. This is the microphone vocal reduction is limited to the third gen 2022 Apple TV 4K, which it is. It is limited to just being able to adjust the vocals. Any of the other older Apple TVs, which is kind of disturbing. The fact older, the 4K last year was 2021. So I mean that's not old in my opinion, but
No.
but any of those older ones, it will still have the same experience of the lyrics still scrolling up on this big screen for you, but you just won't be able to reduce the vocals like you would normally with the karaoke. But the way you can work around that is, and I tried it, is you could just AirPlay your iPhone to your Apple TV, and voila, you can just do it from your Apple TV, and people can do it. You can hand them your iPhone and do it that way if you wanted to. It was a kind of a fun experience. I see this becoming becoming relatively popular, and it really does it really does a good job with it. And I highly recommend checking it out just to see if it's something you'd like to do. So I was thinking back. I remember doing karaoke when I was in Ireland many years ago.
Oh,
I was in a pub in Roscommon, Ireland, with my wife and family, and I was up there. I had a few Guinness, so and the song I picked was Bobby Darin and Mack the Knife. So
fun.
So yeah, I had it on video. It was back many years ago when you didn't have the iPhone didn't exist yet, so. It was a bad video, and I don't know where it is now, but I hope it's buried somewhere.
I hope it's on YouTube.
No, it's not on YouTube. So
speaking of YouTube, Meg wants to hear you sing.
That I didn't look at YouTube yet. That's my sister-in-law. Yes, it is going to be good for Christmas parties, Meg. Thanks for we're going to probably do that during our Christmas time here. So,
and it will be filmed, Meg.
Yeah.
So you will be expected to participate.
She may have to film it, so I'm not filming it. So,
I am looking forward to these videos.
Yeah, this is gonna be scary. So it's a good experience. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't know if there's anything you guys would be interested in, but who knows? You go hang out with family and friends. This is a perfect opportunity during the holidays. You can take advantage.
I expect I'll be doing this. Over the next few days.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only reason I haven't played with it yet is because this just feels like a group thing to me. And
I wanted to try it
just sitting here home alone, singing along with it.
No.
Which is funny. Why should I feel weird and awkward about that? Because I'm home alone. My cat's not going to tell anyone.
Yeah. Until she climbs on you.
Guys, daily karaoke.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
While going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
Guy sings 9 to 5.
What a way to make living.
Yeah. So it's going to be super cool. And I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's something you like to do. So the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is the Apple TV. I have the 3rd gen 2022 model. Been playing around with and checking out. It is a bit faster. I've noticed. It is lighter weight too. I know I've compared it to a couple of the other models. And I was surprised how much lighter weight it is. And I don't know if I have the one here, but they did change it. So now, we used to have the logo on the Apple TV where it'd say the Apple logo and then TV. Well, now it just has the Apple logo on it. They don't even have that anymore. So they kind of changed it, which was kind of strange. But there are 2 models of the 2022 model, the 4K 3rd gen, and what the 64 gig does not have an Ethernet connection. So they cut the price down a little bit. It was down to I believe $129. So pricing is becoming much more reasonable, I think. And then the one with the Ethernet is 128 gigabytes, and does have the that as well as Wi-Fi. So it's gigabit Ethernet in the Apple TV. So for those who want to have a real true connection and have some fast connection without having to do it over Wi-Fi, you definitely need to check that out. So the Wi-Fi is at the latest version, the 802.11ax, and the Bluetooth technology is at the 5.0 wireless technology. So it's all up to date and current. But I found it interesting because I was doing some swap arounds with some of the models I had, and for other locations, and I put an article here in the show notes. Actually, this is a support article from Apple about how to identify your Apple TV, because it sometimes can be a bit of a challenge there to find out what the heck's what. So they got all the 4K models all the way down to 2017 model, which is still a perfectly good one if you have that still, other than the crappy remote. But and then the HD, which I think you have that, right, Jeff, the HD model.
Yep, I'm still rocking an HD.
It works great.
Yeah, I've got an HD upstairs, and I've got the first gen 4K downstairs.
Yeah, until my television dies, I can't justify getting a 4K Apple TV. Well, I suppose if my Apple TV died, then I would just get a new one with an Ethernet port on it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So yeah, it was fun to go through that and just check the devices, and you do need to notice the speed difference. I do. I mean, it's a much faster processor on the new model. Quite a jump between the HD version and the 4K, either 4K models. So, but I think Apple's really doing a great job with this, and it's going to be interesting to see where this device goes. And the pricing was pretty reasonable for Christmas time. They were selling these 4K. I think they were selling as low as $80 the 4K second gen.
Wow,
which was like really like the lowest price I've ever seen on those. But check out that information in the show notes. We've got the article there, and definitely is going to be something interesting. I did have one snippet article here I wanted to talk about really quick is how to pair the new Apple TV remote. Especially those who you buy the new remote, which actually is a great remote here, and I have it here on camera here. Of course, I got a few of these now. So this remote is so much better than that crappy black remote with the touchpad. But there is ways to actually get it to sync, because when you have it does get paired to the original Apple TV that you had, or if you buy a new one, then you have to go through the pairing and just go through the settings. And the article here talks about how to pair it, how to do it. You hold any button down, it'll have that message up on the screen telling you bring it closer to pair it. And it made it super easy to do it. So check out that article too. And
don't forget using your phone as well.
Yeah, your phone. I do it. I'll use it all the time. Yep. Because I've gotten rid of the cable box I had through Comcast, and now I'm using the Xfinity Stream, and happy not to have to pay them $9 a month for a freaking box. And it works. It's pretty reasonable. So, it's definitely something that's worth it. So, let's go ahead and move on here to Davinci Resolve. Davinci Resolve, the video editor, it's a super powerful application, and it's a great Final Cut alternative. And they just, as we record this today, they just released the version for it on the iPad today. The Davinci Resolve for iPad is available in the App Store. I know, Guy, you've been a big user of Davinci Resolve on the Mac, and I wanted to and we talked about this last week because they had just announced that it was in beta, and then I said breaking news today that it was released this morning. So lucky us I haven't had a chance to spend much time on it. I know you haven't yet as well. But do you think this is going to be a good experience on the iPad, Guy? That once
is it also free?
It is free. Yes, you can get the studio. The studio version is $95, and the free version is just like what you're working with now on the Mac, free.
Wow.
Yep.
The free version of and this is from Blackmagic, right, is the name of the company that puts it out. And the main reason why they put it out for free is they want you to buy their hardware. But if you don't want to buy their hardware, it's still, even the free version, and there are things that the free version doesn't do as compared to the paid version. But for 90% of the people out there that want to do video editing, Davinci Resolve gives you, besides just being a video editor, it's an audio editor, it's color management. You can do motion graphics with it. I mean, it's the scale of what this application can do as compared to other professional, very pricey applications is astounding. And it's a great program. And I haven't used it in a while because I've been using a different program called CapCut, right? Not because I'm not happy with Davinci Resolve, but for the kinds of stuff that I do with Guy's Daily Drive and the My Mac podcast, I don't need all the bells and whistles that DaVinci gives you. But if you're serious about video editing, take the time to learn DaVinci Resolve. And the best part about it is some of the things that you will teach yourself in DaVinci Resolve will likely be able to be transferred to Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, some of the other very popular, professionally popular video editors that are out there. And the fact that it's for free is just icing on the cake.
It's crazy.
And I can't wait to try it on the iPad.
Yep. It's before I get to Jeff, the compatibility with this app is it does need an A12 Bionic chip or later, so that covers the iPad Air,
it's like
3rd gen.
Years.
Yeah, it's going back 4 years. Yeah, so the 8th gen iPad and the iPad Air 3rd gen, it will work with that. I don't know what the experience is going to be since it is a little slower, but at first they were talking about it maybe only being on the M1 and M2 processors on the iPad Pros, but no, it looks like I installed it on my 2018 iPad Pro and it works fine. So, but Jeff, you of course you love LumaFusion. I know that's your go-to video editing. Is this something you might want to explore? See how DaVinci would be for any of your workflows?
Oh yeah, I haven't had time to download Resolve yet, and I'm
just came out today, so
yeah, true. But apps like this are the kind of things that I like to jump on right away and play with. I'm intentionally not installing Resolve yet because I have so many other things that I need to focus on right now. Right. And I know that if I install Resolve, that's it. Everything else is
back burner.
And so I'll install it soon and play around with it. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm amazed at how many people I have chatted with that have been looking forward to this coming out that are saying that they prefer using Resolve now over using Final Cut Pro.
I got to try it more because I've been using Final Cut Pro. So,
yeah. Well, the cool thing about DaVinci Resolve versus Final Cut Pro, with Final Cut Pro, you have standalone applications. You have the color applications, you have the motion application, and then you have the video editor itself. It's all built in to DaVinci Resolve. It's just a matter of you don't have to start another program. It's just a different tab and a different workflow. That's
great. So check it out. I've got links in the show notes for DaVinci Resolve where you can download it right to your iPad, and it's definitely worth a while app. It's free, and we always like free,
especially when it's really good apps.
Yeah. Exactly. Now we have to talk about something not so good. Apple pulled the new Home app architecture in iOS 16.2 as users complained about HomeKit issues. That was a new feature that was added there, and then when they went to go upgrade, and it broke. Did you upgrade, Jeff? Or did you hold off?
No, I upgraded, and the upgrade process was janky as it was janky.
Careful.
Yeah, it was janky, and that should have been my first red flag. Yet I persisted, and did get it to install. And once it was installed, I saw no improvements anywhere.
Oh.
My HomeKit issues that I had before installing the update are all still there. I don't know what in the architecture it's really supposed to be fixing and improving, but whatever it is, it's not happening in my place.
Lovely.
And now they've pulled it, and I'm like, great. So,
well,
am I sitting on a time bomb now? And is it a situation now where at any moment I could try and do something through HomeKit, and I have a cascading failure, and my entire smart home setup is host?
Well, Apple did recognize that it was a problem, and they did publish a support article that I put in the show notes here that's designed to help those who are having issues with the HomeKit, that outline what they can do when they can't access a home or accept an invitation in the Home app. They're saying that Apple was saying that on the iPhone or the iPad, running 16.2, users should remove the home option on any listed homes that doesn't have accessories. If they invite a user and had home with accessories, Apple support must be instead contacted for help. Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah. My translation on this is basically if something goes wrong now that you're running 16.2 and you've done the update, that you just have to nuke and pave and start over.
Yeah. And that's not good.
And I have done that in the past because of issues with HomeKit. And holy crap, if I had to do that again, I would seriously question whether or not I wanted to do it on HomeKit or figure out workarounds to make all this stuff work on the A-Lady platform instead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And right now, as we said, that Apple has reserved as far as it's not going to install. So they have blocked it from upgrading at this time. So go figure. Another notch of HomeKit's woes. So
we
let's
have so many notches here.
Yes, we do.
That the tree we're chipping these into is ready to just fall over.
Yes, that absolutely. Another thing I want to talk about here is the Apple Watch. Hitting all of them today. The Apple Watch has found its GPS independence from the iPhone at last, and Apple Watch has had its own GPS since the Series 2 arrived 6 years ago, but the watch had also relied on the iPhone's GPS whenever possible. That has changed with the latest models. So it's saying this
because of battery issues, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Series 8 and the SE2 does include that, and on the Watch Ultra, of course, does include that. And now that it's its own independent GPS, which I thought was good to hear. I'm still sporting the Series 7, so I don't have that option, but they did explain, like it says here, that it was Apple Watch battery life that was causing the problem, where they opted to pull it from the iPhone instead. So this is good news.
Can I ask you guys? Let me ask you guys' opinion on something.
Yeah.
I'm still on Apple Watch Series 5. Is it worth it for me to go to the 8, the regular 8? I mean, I would love to go to the Ultra just because it's got a slightly bigger screen, and I'm like the Incredible Hulk when it comes to my size. But I guarantee you that I'm not going to spend $800 on a watch that is potentially out of date in a year or two. But would it be worth it? I mean, would the additional features of the Series 8 make it worth it versus a Series 5?
For me, that decision, I had to go through the same decision, but for me it was 4 to 8 instead of 5 to 8. And even with a 4, I still had to sit down and really look at the features and decide, are there features now that I want that aren't available on my current Apple Watch? And ultimately the answer was yes. And so I went ahead and did the update. But still, it was not a no-brainer. I had to really look at it and decide if there was enough going on, which I guess is a testament to the quality of the Apple Watch, because even with the Series 4, I was looking at a Series 8 and thinking, well, maybe not. And yeah. And I think if I had a 5, I would be in the same boat, just trying to figure out, are the features there that I need? Because if you're thinking, I'm going to do it because I want a faster watch, for practical purposes, you won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah,
if you're doing it because you really, really want to have the larger screen in the smaller space, okay, yes, that's a thing. But unless you're using features that push all the way out to the edge of the screen anyhow, you're probably not going to be able to tell a difference.
Yep.
The screen's brighter in the sunlight. Okay, that's great. But you have the ECG feature already. You have fall detection already.
Still updating 9. You have 9.2.
And I'm 62, so those things are important to me.
Yeah. Old.
Yeah. And I have the Series
Old
7,
guy.
and I'm the Series 7, and I didn't see any compelling reason to upgrade this year, so I held off. So
I'm thinking I might hold off until the 9 comes out. So we'll see.
yeah, absolutely.
If I find like some kind of amazing deal on a Series 8, then I might do it. But otherwise, I don't think I'm going to spend full price.
Yeah, I think I saw.
I think that's totally reasonable.
There's some deals, but that's like $50. It wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Yeah.
You know what? Watch for a deal on Amazon, and if you have an Amazon credit card, just keep banking up points and use the deal and your points and chop that price way down.
There you go.
Well, I also have like $700-800 in Apple Cash. So
there's that too.
Yeah.
And there's that.
Yeah. I use the crap out of my Apple card.
Oh, hey, it's worth it.
It is.
Last topic I wanted to hit tonight is the Apple combining 2 Apple IDs. It's always been a pain point for me, and I found this article that was just released a couple weeks ago here that you can't combine 2 Apple IDs, and they're saying and you still can't to this day, and you absolutely cannot. I mean, but there are some steps you can take to reduce the problems and confusion of having more than one. My problem was, it went back in the old days when we didn't have that option of family sharing, and you didn't have so I set up an account that was my purchase account. Then I have a setup for my iCloud account. So it kept it separate.
Like so many of us.
And then that purchase account is shared by myself, my wife, and I'm sure others do that too when they're sharing it with their families, because you don't want it to be you didn't want it to be separate. But now I've had that purchase account for what 15 years, because it's every app I've ever purchased is on there. So why would I want to get rid of that account when I would lose all those apps that I've downloaded over the years? I mean, yeah, granted, there's probably a lot of apps that are not there anymore, but maybe I need to start moving the purchases over and then kind of weeding down. I could possibly do that. That might be a good alternative. But that's one of the resolutions is to put everything on family plan. So technically, my family doesn't need to have that account. Well, they kind of do if I want to share apps, but so it really is a difficult thing here, and there really is no effective one. I've gone through some of the things that he talked about here, and that's what you got to decide. Is it definitely go family sharing if you have a family. That will help that resolution I just talked about. But I don't think there's really anything else you really can do at this point. And you're like I said, Jeff, you're in the same boat, right? I mean, I have
4 Apple IDs.
Oh, wow. So you're even worse than me.
Yeah. But I'm doing what you're doing. I have one Apple ID that's primary for all purchases.
Yeah.
A second Apple ID that's primary for all of the data related stuff.
Right.
And then I have the 2 other Apple IDs because of all the stupid reasons that come up along the way.
Yeah, testing. I do have an alternate Apple ID that I use just for testing purposes. Like if I'm using a device, I don't want to sign it onto my own account because it starts syncing everything. I'd like to experience it being a new account. You could do that. Yeah, I mean, just like if the Apple One bundle, I wanted that to be synced with my iCloud account and plus my iCloud account is also Mack.com, which I don't ever want to lose because I have that. I mean, who wants to lose your Mack.com email address? So I'm not touching that account. So I just use that as the account for iCloud, and then the iCloud is shared with my family because I have the Apple One bundle, of course, and get the 2 terabytes. So it seems to work out. Do you have multiple accounts, that guy, or were you smart and only have one?
I had an account early on. Oh my God, what was it? .me.
Yeah,
I have them all. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I started with iTools or whatever the very first was.
Yeah. And for the most part, because iOS wasn't even a thing then, it was mostly other kinds of content. It was movies, it was TV shows, it was music.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to abandon that account. And I don't remember the circumstances behind it.
Right.
But what I basically did was, it was mostly the music that I was concerned with. So I just converted everything into MP3 and exported it, and then re-imported it into my current Apple Music account.
Right.
And I had all my music again, all the stuff that I'd already purchased. A lot of the TV shows and movies that I had in some of those old accounts, it wasn't really all that much, but it was enough to where I was kind of like, I wish I didn't have to do this, but I did. And if it was stuff that I found that was really compelling or stuff I knew I was going to watch again, then I just, hate to say it, bit the bullet and went ahead and repurchased it.
Yeah. Oh. I think I'm going to stick what we have and then just don't want to mess with it. It seems to be working.
Honestly, Apple, just
merge them, darn it.
Just merge them, please. Come on.
This has been ongoing forever.
20 plus flipping years, he said, almost with a bad word.
Yeah.
And you should just go ahead. Let us merge these old accounts together, at least as far as content goes.
Yeah.
Well, but of course, there's the problem as well that Apple doesn't own the content. They're selling that content for copyright holders, and they can't necessarily just say, well, okay, we're going to move it from this account to that account because the copyright holders are going to want their cut again.
Right.
And damn them too. Tim McSweeney, who was the other person? Special rungs of hell for all these people that we're talking about this week.
Yeah, I think part of this is also poor planning or design on Apple's part.
Yeah.
I remember when I first had to start dealing with dual accounts, and I'm on the phone with Apple support, and they're like, well, this whole system that you signed up for, that's not compatible with anything we're doing now. So you have to create a second Apple ID. And now everything that's in this old account that's not compatible with anything that's new, you just lose it all and start over. And I'm like, well, but I've paid all this money for all this stuff. And they're like, well, okay, so it's not compatible, but it's still compatible because all the stuff you have there, you still have, and you can still use it for buying and you can use it for everything else. And I'm like, then why is it not compatible? It's just not. And problems with that have cropped up along the way. Like at one point, when Apple was doing a transition with developer accounts for two-step versus two-factor authentication, I got locked out of my account because my .Mac account is old enough that it didn't support what they're doing now. And they actually had to have engineers go in and do something with my account so it would still work with whatever the new stuff is that they're doing. And so I have my old account, then I have my other account that I had to make later on that Apple has had to jury rig to keep working. And I'm like, seriously, people, how poorly designed is this, where this is what we have to deal with in what for many people is a personal environment, but for a lot of us is a professional workspace.
Yeah. All right.
I'm off my soapbox.
No, I mean this was a good topic because I want people to just be aware of this again. It's something that it's difficult. Just can't do it, and just kind of manage them as we suggested here. So, programming note for next week, we'll have one more show for the year end, and then week after that, I'll be attending the Consumer Electronics Show, CES.
Nice.
The first week in January. So
not at all jealous.
Take a week off, and then I'll bring all that great content. What happened at the show the following week. So we got one more show of the year left, but I want to wish everybody a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and all that fun stuff. But let's
Chris
go ahead.
Hanukkah.
Yes, like you said. So let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is at feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter at intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You also can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is usually on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch and listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discussed are flipped right into the magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at mastodon.cloud at DaveG65 or Twitter at DaveG65. And guys, Serle, thanks always for being here. Always great conversation. Where can people find
thank you. You can find me. Email address is guy@mymac.com. You can find me over on the Twitters, both Mac Parrot and VertShark, as well as over in Counter Social and Mastodon as Mac Parrot. I am VertShark over on the Tubes of You, where you can also like, share, subscribe to all the crazy stuff I put in there. And we have a Skype telephone number. By God, yes, we do. And it is 1 or +1 outside the United States, 703-436-9501.
People Thank you. Skype?
Oh, yeah. If you Skype, you can take that 1 and that +1 and just throw it away.
Oh, thanks for being a guy. Sure. Jeff Gamet, thanks as always for being here. Where can people find you?
Oh, stop it.
Dave, it's always a blast to get to hang out with you. Yeah. And I'm going to be living vicariously through you at the beginning of January when you're at CES. I do miss that show. Yeah. I had so much fun at CES.
Never gone.
It is so much fun. It's a lot of work, but a lot of fun. Dave, when I'm not hanging out here with you on Thursdays, I'm probably hanging out with you and Guy and Chuck on Tuesdays on Mac Voices Live.
Yep.
And then Thursdays early in the day on the big show, and then Fridays early in the day with you, Dave, on the Mac show, and then on the Context Machine, because Brian Chaffin and I have teamed up again. And let's see, socials. Jay Gamet on basically everything. Mastodon for me seems to be hopping now. So Jay Gamet on Mastodon, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Google me. I'm easy to find.
Great. And thank you for listening again. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and hope you have you got some great gifts when you come back and listen to us next week. And we appreciate you being here. And we will talk again soon.